Climate change is the greatest environmental threat that we face every single day as human beings. The global average temperature has already risen and keep rising even until today. To reduce the emission of greenhouse gases, we, as a responsible human being, we need to think and change our lifestyle and also our habit. Too bad, not all humans can do that. Therefore, another solution to fight climate change is green tax and ecosystem services. What are green tax? It is a tax designed to tax those behavior that is harmful to the planet's health. Those people will pay for the services provided to protect the environment. We make it simple. Those who pollute, they will pay. So, we will tell you and show you the details of the environmental tax or green tax and ecosystem services.
Moving towards a decarbonized economy, green taxes are the key tools that favoring sustainable development. The following are some of the primary benefits that explain the presence of these taxes. First and foremost, this taxation plays a role by protecting the environment. This is because environment beings are closely linked to each other. Every human activity can impact the environment in both positive and negative ways. Other than that, they motivate companies to innovate in sustainability behavior and reduce pollution with a green incentive. It can reduce tax liability to stimulate investments that mitigate environmental impact. What's more, the taxes generate revenue for the government that can help to lower other taxes and more environmental projects can be carried out. Next, anti-ecological activists will feel displeased and discouraged for wasting natural resources through green taxation. They also help to promote energy savings and shift the use of fossil fuels to renewable sources.
There are several types of green taxes. One of them is energy taxes. The energy tax is a royalty that the government imposes on the production, distribution, or consumption of energy, electricity, or fuels. Energy taxes can take a variety of forms, ranging from crude oil wellhead royalties to retail gasoline taxation to the maximum fees on consumer electricity bills.
On November 9, 1978, the Energy Tax Act was introduced in the United States and approved by the Congress as part of the National Energy Act to move the focus from oil and gas supply to energy conservation, promoting fuel economy and renewable energy through taxes and tax credits. Individuals in the United States who use solar, wind, or geothermal energy are eligible for a tax credit under this law. The credit is equal to 30% of the cost of the equipment up to $2,000 as well as 20% of cost greater than $2,000 up to maximum of $10,000. There were also tax credits available to businesses for renewable energy equipment amounting to a maximum of 25%. Energy is always a basic requirement for both businesses and households, which makes the demand remarkably high in the long term, therefore generating significant tax revenue. Energy taxes can also be used as Pigouvian taxes that have been widely used in recent decades. This energy tax is implemented to curb behaviors that are harmful to the environment because our ecosystem services are only available in limited quantities. Their degradation has associated costs to society.
The solid waste management tax applies to services for both mixed municipal solid waste and non-mixed municipal solid waste. The tax rate depends on the type of waste and which party that generate the waste. So, who actually collects the tax as in the US? A waste management service provider is responsible for collecting and remitting the solid waste management tax to the Minnesota Department of Revenue. A provider is anyone who directly bills a waste generator for waste management services. For example, waste haulers, waste management facilities such as incinerators, transfer stations and landfills, and local and county governments or other political subdivisions. Next, mixed municipal solid waste is garbage, refuse, and other solid waste from residential, commercial, and community activities. For mixed municipal solid waste, the tax is based on the sales price charged by the provider and the type of waste generator. Solid waste management tax rate for residential is 9.75% of sales price, while for commercial and self-hauler are 17% of sales price. So, what does sales price means? Sales price is the total of all charges and fees for the service, whether billed separately or together. Non-mixed municipal solid waste includes construction, demolition, industrial, infectious and pathological waste material that is collected, processed, and disposed of separately from mixed waste. The tax is based on the actual volume, container capacity, or weight of the waste. The provider must calculate the tax in the same way as they bill the customer. For example, if the provider bills by the cubic yard, they must calculate the tax using the cubic yard rate.
So, waste management tax provide incentive to use more sustainable solution of waste management, such as waste reduction and prevention, recovery, and recycling.
Green tax can be taxed to those who own older vehicles because old vehicles has an old engine which can pollute the environment. Thus, the owner of the old vehicle has to pay the green tax for polluting the environment. Green tax can be different from state to state. For example, in Maharashtra, private vehicles aged more than 15 years and commercial vehicles aged more than 8 years have to pay for the green tax. Green tax applied on vehicles varies as per their categorization. Commercial vehicles such as buses and trucks cause a lot of pollution. Heavy vehicles that are used as good carriers travel across states and are known to emit a lot of smoke in the environment. Green tax might lead people to discard their old vehicles instead of shelling out the money for the vehicle's longevity. This way, the number of old vehicles plying on cities' roads might also reduce. The collected tax will be a part of the state's fund. It will be used for developing infrastructure. Air pollution affects the ecosystems in a number of ways, altering basic ecosystems function such as primary production, plant growth, and biogeochemical cycling, which in turn affect the ecosystem services, and therefore the benefits that humans get from the environment, such as timber, clean drinking water, and an appreciation of nature will also affect it. So, one of the best ecosystem services is regulating services because it helps to maintain the quality of air.
Next, I will explain about the green taxes of natural resources. Green taxation has been increasingly seen as a productive economic instrument to generate incentive to stimulate more environmentally friendly consumption and production choice and trends. Examples of green taxes are earth manipulation and the extraction and use of natural resources. Besides, growing attention to environmental challenges such as the lack of optimum, effective, and responsible usage of natural resources, health concerns from the use of energy resources, environmental degradation, and climate change have driven the implementation of green taxes. These taxes have been used by various countries, regions, and continents on variegated areas and driven by an array of motives. Environmental taxes may be implicit way to the scarcity threat associated with natural resources. Taxes on the demands for fossil fuels, for example, may be borne largely by the owner of reserve of fossil fuels, as these taxes may reduce significantly the net of tax prices of these fuels, to the extent that the burden of environmental taxes falls to the owner of inelastically supplied reserve. The environmental tax functions as a rent tax and involves no efficiency costs.
Now, let's continue on the example of successful green taxes. Plastic bag tax in Ireland is introduced in 2002 with the price of 15 cents, which then increased to 22 cents in 2007. The aim was to reduce consumption and the adverse effect of the plastic bag litter had on the landscape. As a result, discard plastic bag fell from 5% of total litter pollution in 2001 to only 0.13% in 2015. Next, landfilling tax in the UK was introduced in 1996 to reflect the environmental cost of landfilling and also to reduce waste generation and boost recycling. As a result, the amount of waste sent to landfill decreased from 50 million tons in 2001 to only 12 million tons in 2015.
According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, good environmental regulation should follow this principle. Firstly, the scope of environmental tax should be as broad as the scope of the damage. Next, the tax rate should be commensurate with the environmental damage caused. Last but not least, the tax must be creditable and the rate predictable in order to motivate behavior that help protect the environment. However, the implementation of the various taxes and the way environmental taxation is coordinated often fail to reflect this principle. Some of the most common criticisms include the lack of connection towards the negative externalities that generate the tax. Next, lack of environmental consistency in the design due to not being based on environmental damage. Last but not least, rate too low to discourage the agents causing environmental damage. That's all from me.